we are. We're back. Delay. We had a delay. We went
on retreat to the Shaolin monks in China. There's a group of Shaolin monks that are just working on podcasts at the moment, so they help you really get yourself centered. And so myself and Nick went up there and spent the week.
Found our inner
pod.
I'm going to close this door.
All right, close that door. The next sound you will hear will be Nick closing a door. We don't want the public coming in, Nick, do we?
It's for us and for us only.
Yeah. All right, I need to cover the very important topic of my daughter's cat.
Yes. What was the cat's name? What? Sorry.
The cat's name is Cheeky Boy.
What is the cat's name, not what was?
Cheeky Boy, which is prohibitive when it comes to actually looking for the cat, because I can't go around the neighborhood shouting, Cheeky Boy, Cheeky Boy,
right, Cheeky.
Are you a cheeky boy? I can't do that. So, anyway, we've got two cats. One of them is Miss Plum, which is another stupid name. You can't go calling that out either. But Plum is smart, so she's at home, no problem. Cheeky Boy, though, is bonded to my only child like a sibling. 3 years.
How old's your daughter?
Daughter's 10.
And the cat's?
Cat's 3. He's her best friend in the world, and he's gone. Second night he hasn't come home. He's never not come home. And
so the fear is that he's gone.
Yep.
Because cats don't do that, do they?
I don't know what cats do, to be honest. We never had cats because we lived on the edge of a town, and so we always had dogs. So, and we were on kind of a main road. So the dogs would last maybe a year and a half, and they'd always get run over. And then we'd buy another dog. And myself and my brothers would come up with a name, like something exotic. And then within a week, my father would be calling it Lassie. So every dog was called Lassie because my father couldn't remember the names. So I remember being attached to one particular dog called Lassie.
Called Lassie?
Yeah. And I'm trying to think, there was another little dog called, I think it was Spot. But Lassie would have been my Cheeky Boy.
Yeah. Oh, so when you were young, you were...
Yeah, I was really attached to this dog. And then I remember my mum saying to me, look, Lassie's gone. He's run off, right? And I remember as a kid lying in bed thinking, my best friend's run off. Why did he run off and leave me?
Yeah.
And, we had such a bond, we had a thing, we were friends, me and this dog. And then I started to think, now, you know what's happened? He's got run over like the rest of them, but my mother doesn't want to tell me because she knows I'm that attached to him, right?
And that was the case? You never...
30 years later, I said to my mother, remember that dog Lassie that I was really attached to? She goes, yeah. I said, so tell me, like he got run over, right? And you just told me that, that he'd run off because you didn't want me to know that he was dead. I said, because that was really upsetting to think that he'd leave me, I'd rather have known that he was dead. She said, no, he did run off.
Oh, really?
I'm like, oh, shit.
He did abandon me.
Now he's killed me as a child, and now he's killing me as an adult.
That's brutal.
Horrible.
That's part of the thing of never lying to children.
Oh, yeah, but there's never lying, and then you can't handle the truth, kid.
So what are you going to do?
Well, what we're going to do is, I don't know. There's a great Louis C.K. bit on that, where he says that telling the kids about the death of their pet was really good practice for grandma.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So you have to watch it. It's quality.
Pass it on.
Yeah.
Pass it on.
Yeah, get used to this because it gets bigger.
Cheeky Boy.
Cheeky Boy.
Such a cheerful name.
Cheeky bastard. He was too. Anyway. What else is going on?
Work. Lots of work.
Yeah.
We had our 80s, back to the 80s dinner the other night.
Okay, well, I saw one photograph. It looked like an explosion of the 80s, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an actual party.
Yeah.
As opposed to the mellow dinner things we normally have.
Yeah.
It was good.
Did you have a DJ?
We did. DJ Maxi.
All right. And it was just the 80s.
He just played 80s tunes.
Yeah.
There's so much good music in the 80s.
Oh, you know what? It sounds okay now, but man, it's like Vietnam. If you've lived through it, you don't want to be talking about it. Like the 80s music was horrible at the time.
For the sense of it, for like a dinner party disco-y. There's lots of that disco-y sort of stuff.
Yeah, right.
Well, there's a lot of music that when you Google best songs of the 80s, there's a lot of music that's good that you know of. I mean, you know what I mean? Like you're like, oh, that song.
It's
Is
still
that
around.
in the 80s? Oh,
Yeah.
is that in the 80s?
Yeah.
Whereas the 70s and the 60s is like really good music.
Yeah.
But maybe not so good in the whole hitting the dance floor.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, the dance floor thing was different then.
Yeah, we sacrificed the table for it.
Did you? What do you mean? Burnt one? Sacrificial.
Lit one up.
Yeah.
Middle of the room. Well, it just took away space.
Oh, so for dancing, you mean?
Mm.
Oh, good. So DJ Maxi, 80s to the max.
It's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a good standard DJ name, Maxi. I mean,
Mad Maxi.
is it a female or a male human?
A male human.
A male?
Yeah.
Maxi, though. It's more of a
Oh, Max.
girl name, isn't it? Like a 70s girl's name. Maxi.
It's a dress name.
Minnie is another one. Minnie the Moocher.
Nice guy. Your DJ's at the Family.
What's the family? Should I know what the family is?
It's a pub/bar
Right.
in the west of Newcastle on Hunter Street.
There's a west on this town, is there?
Where east? The east. Is there not a west?
There should be no east, because that's the ocean, isn't it?
Well, we're in the East End.
Yeah. The east end, yeah.
There's East Maitland, isn't there?
There is. Yeah.
But they don't call it West Maitland.
But it's in the
It says
west.
Maitland and.
No, it's in the east, you're right. Actually, East Maitland is weird. That is just weird. Because
it's
there's
another
Maitland.
suburb, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a totally different thing. It's that far away. I live on Victoria Street in Maitland, and there's a Victoria Street in East Maitland, like a totally separate town.
Is this where you went and you asked if they could change?
Yeah, I went into the council to see how can I change a name.
Politely
They
asked
looked
if
at me
you-
as if I was some foreigner trying to change the government. I was like, no, hang on, I'm not trying to change the government.
Which you are.
Oh, change the street name. It's named after Queen Victoria of England, who was a horrible cow anyway. And what's she got to do with the patch of land that I'm living on? Nothing.
But
Except that she sent off a bunch of savage bloody psychopaths to take over another nation and get their rewards when they got home. Don't get me talking.
You gotta know where you come from.
You don't come from Queen Victoria.
But our country settled from those crazy peeps.
Those crazy peeps. My issues with monarchy, especially that era, any bloody era, it's a ridiculous
I've
self-propagating
no
thing.
attachment to monarchy.
No, so let's change the name of Victoria Street. What would you call it?
Yeah, but I'm not. I'm sure.
Cheeky Boy
I'm
Street.
sure my grandfather probably has some sort of affinity to. He may not.
But aren't you going back to the Polish people? Isn't that where your name goes back to?
My great grandfather, yeah.
Yeah. Well, why would your grandfather have anything to do about monarchy? Unless there's a Polish monarchy. I'm sure there was. There was monarchy all over Europe.
It's so bizarre that just families ruling whole countries.
Well, it wasn't as simple as that, though. It was savages who dressed themselves up and got the hardest people in the neighborhood to work for them. It's all just politics. They got to a point where they had their own mini little armies and they were forcing people to pay them rent. So it's not as if they were
Any better or
No.
of a higher.
or doing anything for the, God almighty, kids shows nowadays. Every kids show you watch is propagating the myth that the monarchy is actually a really good idea. You watch kids shows now and see how many of them actually have a monarchist
Yeah.
agenda. It's just, what? Really? You really want to go back to those good old days, really? Really, 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 really?
Yeah, it's softened the whole vibe about it.
There's one show my kid watches. It's called, I think it's Project MC Squared. And there's
Project MC
Squared,
Squared.
right. So there's 4 girls in it, and they all have skills.
Is it
You know,
a cartoon?
No. It may have been a cartoon, but the one I've seen is. So she got into Project MC Squared overseas, and I had never seen an episode. So she bought a couple of the dolls, and one of them was a scientist, and they're very able female characters in this.
Yep.
So I'm sitting watching an episode the other day, and what gets introduced? Some prince is going to arrive in his bloody limousine, and they're all fawning over this prince. And as if this is they've presented 4 capable female characters, and now they're all going to fawn over this asshole.
Yeah.
Oh, I swear to God, it's a wonder our television has been thrown out the fucking window at all. Oh. I swear to God.
It's just an easy old storyline that's always been. So it's just easier to tell it in.
Yeah.
They don't have to think of it. You know, it's just the same old storyline.
Yeah.
Prince Charming.
It's too early to be angry.
It is early.
You know, let's give peace a chance, Nick. All I am saying is, give peace a chance.
So should we do the 3 questions?
Yes, go on then.
So my friend Johnny Vol.
Johnny Vol, he sounds like a mafia hood. He's a mafia hitman. Call Johnny Vol.
my main man, Johnny Vol. He went to this seminar and they had this.
He wears his shades when he sleeps, that guy.
Oh, 100%. So the first question, what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Okay.
And it's we're just hitting you with them.
Yeah, best piece of advice I've ever been given. I was one of my first gigs. I was going to go on stage. And we'd done rehearsal, but I had no concept of what it was to go on a stage, really, a big stage. It was
At home.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it was a festival. And I remember the girl I was going out with at the time said to me, breathe, just breathe and focus on your goal. Focus on the next thing you have to do. You know, whereas my mind was just trying to contain everything of a situation that I had no knowledge of.
Yeah.
It's that one about breathing and focusing on the next thing you have to do.
Yeah, and just worrying about things you can change, not things that are...
Or things you have to do next.
It's pretty good because that's that whole living in the moment thing.
It is, yeah.
I find it easy to do at times and then sometimes hard to do, but I'm always trying to be conscious of trying to stay in the moment.
Yeah.
Because you can't do anything about what happened
Or what's going to
or
happen.
what's going to happen.
But you can affect it in the moment. You can affect what's going to happen.
It seems so simple, but a lot of people just can't get to it.
Well, you know what? Humans bang on about how, you know, what an incredible computer the brain is. You know, and they say, oh, you know, we can never replicate the brain, and the best computer in the world can't do what the brain can do. That's all very well, but the brain is an asshole, and it will not do what it's told, and it's like a headless chuck. It'll just run around the place, you know.
Especially with ego.
Yeah, everything, and it's just it's constantly showing movies of shit that you did that you're ashamed of, and movies of stuff that you wish you changed, and coming up with things you could have said if you know.
And sitting there thinking about that girl in year 10 that you didn't talk to properly, or something.
Yeah, and she could have been the one.
16 years ago, something you didn't do, or might have done.
Or that thing you said.
I do a lot of the thinking about an argument like that hasn't happened.
Okay, never happened.
That like thinking about an argument that might happen and how it might go down.
Yeah, you won't be ready for it.
Like driving somewhere thinking, right, when this person said, I'm going to say that, and it never even happens.
Yeah, and that's my point. The brain, you can't just switch off. You can't just put it on idle. Okay, I'm driving my car now. Please, I just want the driving my car function, and you switch that on. The brain, unless you're on it, unless you're like focused, and the actual being, the human being, is present in every part of the body. But most people go around as if they're in, they're in their heads. They're stuck up there. They're stuck up in this tiny little engine room, and it's not the thing, man.
It's not all of it. It's only part of the equation.
It's an instrument. It's like as if you were asleep and your hand kept roaming around the bed doing things. Like we have more control over our hands than we do over our brain. Like my hand isn't just going to start walking down my leg now.
Yeah, yeah.
But my brain will.
Yeah.
If I'm left to my own devices, if I'm doing nothing, if I'm driving, watching TV, the brain will be thinking about. It'll pick up 75 things to prove that I'm an asshole. Like, I'm like, what? Are you supposed to be working with me?
Aren't we a team?
Yeah. Don't you even like me?
So question number 2.
Yeah.
If you could give anyone one piece of advice,
Yeah.
what would it be?
Jesus, Nick. If I was to give anybody one piece of advice.
I have a question 2. So this is question 2A. I also have a question
The corollary.
2B.
You do? So I have to answer question A first, though.
Yeah.
1B.
Because I can't give you
Next.
both, because then you'll be thinking about both.
What
So-
advice would I
so-
give to somebody? Okay, right. Well, don't do anything for the dollars. If you're gonna, you can be. It's possible to be, and there are plenty of people who are really rich, or even quite wealthy, who have set up their lives to bring in the dollars, but they don't feel happy with that. So you're better off being a happy poor person than a miserable rich person, even though your brain will tell you that a miserable rich person is better off.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make any sense. It just never will.
And you see a lot of people in bars. I've seen them, in the last X amount of years. A lot of people that have money and a lot of money, and they're just miserable,
Miserable. Yeah.
pounding schooners
Yeah.
or whiskey on their own.
You know what the Irish
to-
equivalent of pounding schooners is? Skull and pints.
Sculling.
Yeah, like on the head. I think the word skull comes from somewhere else though. It could be Finnish or something. Skull, or it could be Dutch. But we use it because it sounds like a skull, so you skull it.
Do you find that with your music, you have to remind yourself to not do it just for money?
I don't have that problem, Nick.
No, we don't mean like you could.
There's
just
nobody throwing millions at me. Like say this big fight tomorrow night, McGregor and Mayweather.
Yeah, yeah.
Win, lose or draw, McGregor's going home with $10 million.
It's crazy money, huh?
Yeah, to lose a game, I would walk into that and lie down on the ground with a pillow. I would, and be counted 10. Good night, everybody. You're a pack of assholes. Thanks for your money. And everybody hates you. Be like, so, hate me in my limo,
Because you obviously talk to a lot of people back home. I'm assuming you do.
No, nobody talks to me. That's why I'm here.
You done?
Say, get the hell out of this village and put that sheep down.
What's the vibe on him back there? With anyone that you do talk to?
Well, I don't really know. I don't see much online about it. There's some friends of mine here mad. I just don't. I'm particularly not a huge fan of watching two men kick the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
And the energy that comes from that. Well, you can enjoy the art of it. There is an art in it. But I'd rather they painted my fence. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
My fence needs painting.
It's just,
Anybody's talking to McGregor,
it's just
please tell him
entertainment.
my fence needs painting. Huh?
It's just entertainment.
It is entertainment, and then there's like, God, just go see a band. But two guys actually beating the shit out of each other. I mean, you remember Muhammad Ali in his later years, like brain damage that he had.
Yeah, it's not a pretty solid.
No, that's no way to treat a lady. Anyway,
So
what was the advice?
two B.
Yeah. What was 2A? Because I answered the
Don't-
question. The advice was don't do it for the dollar. What was the second one?
That was 2A.
Okay, so it's 2B.
2B. If you could give one piece of advice to someone for music, starting to play guitar, what would it be? Oh,
Starting to play guitar.
yeah.
Okay.
So if you only had, if I was about to start playing guitar, and you only had 5 minutes with me, and then I was never going to see you again.
Yeah.
What
The difference in learning any instrument is made in the amount of time you have your hands on that instrument. So
Repetition.
just play the guitar all the time. It's the same for anything you want to learn. You need to do it all the time because there's going to be swathes of time when you're actually not making headway But if your hands are on the instrument, you're making headway because your body is molding to the requirements.
Teaching your fingers to.
Yeah. Yeah. People like Jimi Hendrix and Django Reinhardt and all those greats, they just say Tommy Emmanuel today. He just plays all day.
Just 10 hours.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's such a long time to be doing something. But I suppose that's what
Most people do 9 to 5 jobs though.
Yeah, and if it's your job, it's
Yeah.
what.
Like take someone in admin just on a keyboard all day. It's the same thing, really.
Are you a good typer?
No. I remember being
Single
horrible.
finger?
Well, I think I've got 3 on the left hand that work really well, and then the right hand is a stabber. You know what I mean?
Bang, bang, bang.
If I get the shits, I can type pretty handy. Yeah. You wouldn't hire me as a secretary though. All right, third question.
What's the most profound moment of your life to date?
Oh man, the most profound moment of my life to date. It's probably watching my mother die, because that was it's a biggie. Like there was a lot going on watching her just in her final hour. And she was ebbing in and out like a tide, you know. She didn't just drop dead off a cliff.
Yeah.
So she was coming back and she was chatting, and then she'd be gone. You'd be thinking, oh, she's going now for sure. And then she'd come back. She'd be chatting, and then further out, and less chatting, further out, and then
The time's got.
times got shorter.
Shorter.
And then you're at the whistling silence end of it, and you're going, oh, okay. It was kind of part of, because you know, for 9 months you're in your mother. There was actually a part of me that was looking at her, and there was a part of me going, if she dies, do I die?
Yeah.
Because there was a point in my life, for 9 months of my life, which is significant, that if she died, I would have died. You know?
Because it was leukemia?
Leukemia, yeah. Horrible, messy thing. But what I'm saying about profundity. So at that stage, I had, you know, realized that religion is
Crazy.
fake, yeah. And so I thought, well, what happens then? What happens to this person that I knew so
Yeah.
well? Like, I mean, you know, without whom, you know? Well, I remember watching when she finally did die, and then she was gone. There wasn't a sense of the person's gone. There was no, like, my mum wasn't gone.
Yeah.
She was dead.
She still.
She wasn't gone.
Yeah.
I knew she. What I mean is, she hadn't ceased to exist. That was the point. But it was profound from that point of view, in the sense that, from a very real sensory perspective, and looking at this person, there was no end. There was no feeling of the movie's over.
Yeah.
There was a feeling of the body is now. She has left that body.
That body,
Definitely, she's not
yeah.
in there, but she's not gone. And I would be perfectly willing to admit, if she had been, if I had a sense of, okay, black darkness, that being doesn't exist anymore. And I'm only going by instinct and sense.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's not my desire for her to live forever or anything. It's not that. But so, as in where she's gone or what, I don't know. I can.
Do you find that she still talks to you in any way?
No, that'd just be freaky. Although I did ask her to find my kid's cat, and I never talked to my mother, like.
Yeah.
But you know, back in Ireland, there's a tradition of if you lose something, you give a fiver to Saint Anthony to find it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's the deal. You keep chucking him fivers. I put up a thing on Facebook there saying, anybody still giving fivers to Saint Anthony, please, you know, pray for my cat. Or to my daughter's cat. A friend of mine got back and said, I got my daughter's on it now, so
Oh yeah.
that's $20 down. I'm gonna have to give them.
I have, when I drink water at home, straight out of the tap.
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
yeah,
Instead of getting a cup, because I'm lazy.
you just lie in top of the tap.
That that's when I can hear my mother saying, "Nick,
Get a glass.
get a glass."
So she still cares about that so much.
Every time.
Huh?
Every time.
Really? That's great. So you just like go under the tap?
I don't put my mouth on the tap.
No. Yeah.
It's lazy.
Ah,
Or
Practical. You don't have
it's
to wash a glass.
It's efficient. Yeah.
Yeah, it's efficient. Now, how about you then? What was my first question again?
Number one, best piece of advice.
Best piece of advice you've ever been given, Nick Pogonowski.
look after your heart and look after your family.
Right.
Mm.
Physically, look after your heart.
Not so much physically, more just emotionally.
Yeah.
You look after what, you know. You don't have to be guarded with your heart, but just be careful with your heart. Yeah. And your family, just as that can be
same thing, really, on some level.
Well, that's friends can be family as well.
Yeah.
Whatever you deem to be your family.
Yeah. Like a cat.
Like a cat, yeah. Like a Mr. Chuckles. What was his name?
Mr. Chuckles. Cheeky boy.
Cheeky boy.
That's a clown that was at your party when you were a kid.
Mrs. Plum? Mr. Plum.
Miss Plum.
Miss Plum. Cheeky boy.
Dr. Chuckles.
And Dr. Chuckles.
All right, so look after your heart, look after your family. That's the best piece of advice you've ever been given.
If there was any advice, I find it strange that with this questioning, so everyone that I've since asked this to, like, why aren't the first question and the second question the same?
The second one is,
like, well, why isn't the answer the same? If that's the best piece of advice, why aren't you giving the best piece of advice? why are you giving some other piece of advice?
So the second question is, what's the best piece?
Well, if you could give anyone one piece of advice, what would it be?
Yeah, you're right there. That's interesting. Yeah.
So mine is just the.
Well, wasn't the first one the most profound thing you've ever heard?
That was the third.
That's the third.
You haven't been paying attention.
It's not that. For some reason, my short-term memory, and that's why I was never good at maths.
Because you're staying in the moment.
Squirrel.
So that'd be, for me, just that life's short, which is similar to yours.
Mm.
You know, stay in the moment because life's short.
Yeah. And essentially, it doesn't matter what you're doing, does it? I mean, people go on about, I'm not living, I'm not doing what I should be doing. But what you should be doing is whatever you're doing.
Exactly what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so, along with that, probably my piece of advice I could give as well would be, you're only as good as the company you keep.
Oh, that's a good one.
Which is, Corey's got an alternate version of that.
Hang out with scum and everyone will think you're great.
No.
This goes out to Corey's friends.
If you hang around with dogs, you get fleas.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that one, yeah. Lie down with dogs, get up with fleas. Mm.
Which is simple, because you see a lot of people that are hanging around people that are, you just...
they're getting...
guilty by association.
Yeah.
You need to surround yourself with people that are...
I've got a brother-in-law who's got this great theory. He said that they should give him control over the law and...
law?
The law and...
All law?
Law, L-A-W.
Like the law, like...
Just the law and humans in general, he said, because there's a bunch of people walking around the streets, he said, you'll be walking out of the supermarket, you'll meet a guy coming towards you, and you go, no, mate, no, you're dodgy, you're just completely wrong. And he said, I'd shoot all them. Yeah, you're not going to try and reform Annie. He said, you, dead. You know what I mean? You, dead. No way. He said, what you're wearing? The way you're walking, the way you're carrying, you're just looking for trouble. You're causing somebody so much pain.
Yeah, I used to, I spent a lot of time thinking about that after my mother passed away, about how people that are not nice people, that go around, spitting on
Or women.
Pretty much everything, you know what I mean? And they'll live.
They're the worst.
Spit on those old ladies. Live until they're 90 or. Do you know what I mean? Like someone my mother. No one's perfect, but she was a good person.
Yeah.
Had a family, blah blah blah.
Yeah, was contributing, like being a big part of your lives.
Yeah. But then you see all these people that aren't what you would call good people.
Yeah, dodgy fuckers.
And they live another 40 years or 50 years.
Yeah.
It didn't seem to make sense.
Or you can go into an old folks home. I noticed this because...
Have you ever been into one?
Yeah, I've been in a few, yeah. But you go in and you can see an old person who's this kind of you know, almost transparent, delicate being. They're so old and frail, but they're absolutely 16 people worth of energy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That they've used their lives to process and become this enormous being, a much bigger being, which I think is the purpose of life, is to be a bigger being by the time you're finished, to be able to pump back in good energy. But then you see the other types who are just these dark, wizened, angry fuckers who've just lived a life and not figured out a damn thing. You know? For whatever reason, they just never thought about it, and now it's too late. And even at any point, there's a point where you can go,
regret.
Ping, yeah. Well, not just regret, but just built up anger and nasty. You know?
It must, because then that would just fuel the anger. Because then they'd just be getting angry about not having.
Yeah, but you could still use that anger to just go, ping, right, and get the point of it now. Okay, I'm 90, but I'm going to get the point of it now. I'm not going to waste the next 4 days. If I've only 16 days left, I'm not going to waste it. I'm going to actually transform all of this negative energy now. But they don't. They just take it all with them.
They keep going down the path.
Yeah.
Sad.
Now you got one more question left.
Most profound
Oh, hang on.
moment.
What was the... Oh, yeah. No, what was the second one?
If I could give advice.
Yeah, if you could give advice. And that was, okay,
Life's
don't
short.
waste your... Yeah. Don't hang out with fleas.
Don't hang out with fleas, because you'll catch dogs.
That's right. All right, number 3.
Most profound moment of your life. That would be my mother passing away too.
As well?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's a bit of a big one, isn't it?
Yeah. I was 18.
Right. That's young.
Felt. I mean, I don't know if you ever feel young.
No, but you are young at 18.
But
You're not
you
even
know,
cooked.
Knowing me now at 34, and you see all these 18-year-olds over the bar, you're like, God, you're a kid.
Yeah.
That was me.
Yeah.
But then I was 2 years older than my sister and 4 years older than my brother. So I'm pretty thankful that I had the years 14 to 18 with her.
Right.
My brother didn't get that.
Yeah, right. Well, I've seen photographs of her. She looked like a lovely person for sure.
Yeah, very nice.
So where is she?
What do you mean?
Where is she? I mean, she's obviously not gone.
I don't know.
So you think she may be gone?
No. Well, I don't know. It's a weird question.
They don't call me Mr. Weird Question for nothing, you know.
Still around, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Well, because I think she's definitely inside. Oh, I'm still drinking out of taps and thinking about her.
Yeah, right.
You know, in the simplest sense, let alone all the other thinking about her.
Yeah. I have this theory, right? It could be well wrong, but that everything is made up of atoms, and that's not my theory. That's a scientific thing. But everything is made up of atoms and molecules, and with a powerful enough microscope, you can put anything under it, and you will see that it's just essentially a cloud. That everything is atoms and molecules flying around. But there is space
In between.
in between.
Yeah.
So there's more space. Say this tabletop, there's more space in that than there is actual solid.
Yeah.
And it's all moving constantly. There's nothing still about that, even though I look at it and experience it as being still.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
It is bizarre, yeah. But I reckon that in order for something to exist, nothing has to exist. So if the whole world and everything in it was painted red,
Yep.
there'd be no such thing as red. You wouldn't even notice it because everything's red.
Yeah.
But you don't know. You have nothing to compare it to. You know what I mean? There is
Yeah.
no other color, so there would be no such thing as red. So in order for there to be something, there has to be. In order for there to be that red, there has to be a blue. And then you go, that's blue and that's red. Now I know there's two different things.
Yeah.
So in order for there to be something, there has to be nothing.
Yep.
So you can go, that's something definitely. But I reckon they're all in the nothing.
In the nothing part.
Yeah, and so they're in the space between everything, there, and that's why we have religions, because nobody wants to talk about that, because that's too crazy to even say.
Well, that's and so after my mother passed away, I used to think about so this is where you go. So if they go to this place that they call heaven, then it's all like, so people just made it up because they didn't want to deal with thinking about.
Well, they couldn't. I mean, I don't think, like I said, going back to it again, the brain cannot handle, even the language we use can't handle describing what's possible.
Yeah.
We've got like A, E, I, O, and U and a bunch of consonants, and we've got to assemble them to describe the eternal, or to describe what we're trying to talk about. Number one, we can't even, with our tiny brains, we can't even conceive of what could be possible. And number two, then we start to open our mouths using only a few letters to try and describe this thing that's obviously huge.
And the crazy bit as well is that everyone dies.
Yeah.
Like we should be able to talk about it.
I was sitting on the couch the other day, looking at my wife and kid doing something. And we're in this house that's been there since 1910. So it's an old house,
Yeah.
like. And I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, in 100 years, we will be gone. And that's not that long. Like, I've lived 50 years myself now.
Yeah.
So that's not long, 50 years. I mean, I've experienced it as being not long, you know?
Yeah.
So in 100 years, my wife and kid and me are gone.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And
Everyone you know.
yeah. And more importantly...
Except for me, because I'm going to live till 134.
Well, good luck with that. But everyone and everything they've ever worried about.
That's the crux of it. So, like, why worry?
Well, that's exactly it, isn't it? Let's wrap it up there.
Don't worry
About it. Nick's going to sing us out now with a medley of Bob Marley hits. Thanks, Nick.
That was us.
Good chatting.
Musician
A musician and the barman.
and the barman.
Yeah.
Or, because we're in Australia,
The muso and the
Muso and the
barrow.
the barman.
Why don't you call yourself a barrow? I mean, it's hard to say
I
barman.
don't call myself barman. I've never called myself barman. You
Nick
call me.
Pogorowski, barman.
So I call you muso, you
Are
call
you
me
a
barman.
single lady yourself?
Drop us a line at.
Oh yeah, you tell them.
We need questions. Someone's got to ask us a question.
Yeah.
Our questions are good. We can find our own questions.
Yeah, stuff is.
We don't need them.
Eat your fucking questions.
It's good.
Right, good luck.
Here we are. Thanks for coming.
The actor said to the music.